Hey, what's up, everybody? Ryan Groth here, and I'm stoked to have you guys here for this episode of the Sales Athlete Podcast. I have Tyler Gibson, director and heading up the custom division over at Corey Construction. Corey Construction is a Houston-based regional powerhouse. They do nine figures, I don't know, 150, 200 million a year. They do a lot of things. They're very diverse. They have re-roof, they have commercial, they have production home. They also do custom home work, custom home builder clientele. And that's where Tyler shows up. And he is the man over there getting it done, running that division, driving sales. So you guys have a stud in Tyler, hearing how he goes to market over with a big platform like Corey and how they go about making it happen over there. So Tyler, welcome to the show. Thanks for sharing your story and
Yeah,
your
glad to be
expertise,
here.
man.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet, bro. Give us a little bit of who are you, how long you been in the game, and just a little bit of background on you.
And so got into the roofing game 2008. Worked for a couple of little mom and pops guys for a few years, specializing in the high end residential stuff. Opportunity came up that Corey was looking for somebody to kind of manage their tile and their metal roof installs on the residential side, and good fit. So I jumped on board and did that. Back then we had a fleet of sales guys that were out kind of hunting and killing their own stuff, cradle to grave. We estimated all the way to closing the projects out. Kind of evolved that over the years into more operations based. So we kind of got rid of some sales guys, focused on the operation and the installation side of it. And I kind of matured into, instead of managing sales guys, kind of be in the forefront of the sales side of it,
Yep.
managing the operations on the back end.
That's cool. Yeah, it's good. I love how aggressive Corey is and making moves and going after the market.
Right.
These guys are definitely attacking. And I love it. I love what they've done. And but that sounds like quality and efficiency is also super important. And you
Yes,
guys have a strong reputation, and you want to keep that.
for sure. Yeah, we're a big player in the market, and it's that we saw the need for the niche in the residential side for that custom luxury home. Of as many homes as we do, we couldn't turn down these big slate roofs, metal roofs. It kind of made us look like an inadequate company. So the addition of that custom division has really helped us excel throughout the company.
How long ago did that thing spring up?
Man, it was so Corey's been around since '99. We're celebrating our 26th year this year. The custom home division started around 2005, 2006.
Okay.
And it's kind of grown from that. Like I said, we were out there doing a little bit more semi-custom townhome stuff. With my background, when I came along, it was this high-end luxury that they didn't have the capabilities of doing it. So we just kind of grown it. It's a very slow process in that, and it's such a niche. I'm getting in with the GCs, getting in with the vendors that sell that material. Kind of building a reputation. With my background, I kind of sped that process up for us a little bit and fast forwarded. Now I've been with Corey since 2008, so 10 years now, and we really kind of got a brand built into that niche high end residential stuff.
Heck yeah. Love it. So now, we're looking at what's a company that's got a big group, growth minded owners, large market with a guy like you running this for 10 years. What's been your best year? What's it looking like now in terms of like when you hammer down in a market and you're found your niche, you've carved it out, you got a reputation, like you're doing this. What's that look like? How many projects are you doing a
Yeah.
year? What's revenue kind of been
So
best year?
I'm currently having my best year this year.
Okay.
I beat last year's sales about 3 weeks ago. So about 5.5 million, 5.6 for the year. That's on 126 contracts with 53 different clients. I've got
Wow.
one client that's kind of a semi-custom guy that I've done 25 projects for this year, and everybody else is pretty much a three or less homes for the year. So we're pretty diversified as far
Yeah.
as the group of builders that we're working with. So if one guy slows down, I don't have all my eggs in a basket,
Yeah.
especially with a house like this one right back here, 16,000 square foot house. It's an 18-month build process, right?
Yeah. Thanks for building that for me, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
Dude, that's great. So I love that you have a very diverse book of business. You have a lot of accounts, but you're able to do repeat business. It's not just one-to-one direct to owner, which I know you'll do occasionally, but
Right.
I think that's awesome, man. Tell me, like, so if I'm you and I'm starting from scratch, I'm in a major city, a major metropolitan, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go drive this business forward. I'm going to do custom home builders base. I'm going to do freaking super sick jobs, like super technical, high end. Where do you start? And then what are your best practices you would encourage if you were me?
I feel like the track that I took is not the most conventional. When I moved to Houston in '08, I started working with a roofing company as an installer. That first company, I was with them a little over a year. I had subcontractor background, but didn't specialize in any specific trades. So working along with a crew and learning the nuts and bolts of it all, learning the different products, the different ways to install things. That technical side of it has afforded me to be able to go into an office and sit and talk pain points with people because I've experienced it. I've been on the roof, I've done it. That and then just learning the array of products. Man, there's so many new synthetics coming out. There's so many just innovative technologies finally getting into the roofing industry. So learning all that stuff to be able to have a conversation with somebody and not hit the pause button and go do some research and come back. So
I
I'm
see.
always forward thinking, looking at new products coming out, pros and cons versus some of the traditional products that are out. And then just knowing the install methods, the pain points, the things that people have issues with.
So I have 2 questions that are jumping onto me right now. One is your sales process, I think you went through our training, right, at Corey?
Yes. Yes. I went the manager side of it, but
Yeah.
in that I was kind of conducting the class for the sales guys. So I kind of got both sides of it in the
So
process.
you're do you require, like, if you have a meeting of builders, like, "Dude, I want you to bid this job," do you at least get on a phone call or do an in-person to do discovery first?
Yes, very much so. And I've gotten to the point now that I feel like I'm past the bid practice. So if you're not going to answer my questions, we're not going to have that conversation. Your plans are going to sit in my inbox until you come back with me. And I'll follow up many times as I can. But just with as many different techniques and methods that are used to build these houses, to bid apples to somebody, you really have to have that sit down conversation of what type of flashings are you looking for? What type of ventilation? What type of products? Why are you asking for this product? What's your motivating factor for it all, right? And really diving into the nuts and bolts of it all to prepare an accurate bid to somebody. That way I can take the price out of it because I've quoted what you're actually looking for versus some guy just throwing you numbers based on
Right.
footage.
Come on, dude. This is
Yeah.
making me happy, like, because 'cause I've been preaching this stuff, and to see it in action like this with you is
And man,
awesome.
and 8 years ago, I used to get those happy years. I'd get a set of plans from some stranger from a referral. And it was like, all right, I got this job. You throw a number out and you don't hear back from anybody. So I've learned from that spray and pray technique to dial it in and focus. And I always joke with my guys that work with me if you only ask out tens, as far as in the dating world, you're eventually going to land a 10. So just focus on that higher end stuff and you'll eventually land it, right? But you got to be there to perform when you do land it.
I love that. Dating analogies are always helpful for us. We
Yeah,
need a
especially
little
with
bit of
guys. Yeah, exactly.
now I get it. Okay, no, no, that's really good. So let's talk about that then. So, like, now you're having a conversation with a builder. You have this abundance mindset. You don't need to practice. Like, bro, like, let's have a meeting. Okay, so now we're having a
Yeah.
meeting. How many times are you taking what they put in the spec and then you're changing it and pushing back, and your expertise is now influencing a new spec, a new
Yes.
scope? How often are
Very
you finding
often.
that? Yeah.
Very often, especially with these synthetics coming out. Every synthetic website you go to knocks your traditional material. And when I say traditional material, your real slate material, your clay roofing, they all talk about the cons of that. And they kind of take just the general public's lack of knowledge and promote their product in that. So I always try to find out what's the reason that you're going for this project. Was your homeowner, was the architect just doing some Google search? What's the driving factor behind this?
Mhm,
And let's see what are you really looking for. And then
mhm.
I immediately, I know a lot of people have problems talking about money. Dealing with these very high end homes, I've been able to desensitize myself. And just one of the first questions is, what's your budget? If you're coming at me with 6 different roof types to bid and price points can range hundreds of thousands of dollars, what's your budget? Let's talk about that first, just to where we can dial in what can you afford? What can we do? Especially in this market these days, the rebidding process. Somebody might start out and, hey, give me a full slate roof and it's 400 grand. And they're like, well, our budget was 325. What can we do? Well, let's start picking and choosing some areas to put some metal or some different roofs, hey, what's going to fit architecturally with this to where we can maximize your budget and not just take it down to a comp roof because the slate roof's out of your price. So
So
very
good.
much consulting, conversating, figuring out the driving factors of what these people are looking for.
Totally. I mean, this applies in this should apply in every subcontractor function,
Yes.
where you're selling to a GC. It should be like this in everything: commercial, residential, plumbing, heating, freaking, framing. I mean, roofing. I think you have more to discuss, being that you're looking at some pretty wide array of products.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know all the all the details that go into a roof. I flash my houses a lot different than a lot of the competitors do. I might be 4 or 5 grand more expensive on that, but if I sit down and educate that builder, and a lot of people think, oh, he's building this multi-million dollar house. He knows how to roof. No, he doesn't. He knows how to build a house, right?
Right.
He doesn't know the intricacies of what I know. So if I can get his attention to sit down and talk about the pain points of those minor things like that, that when that roof is done are completely hidden. They're not seen from anything. If you
How
can sit
often?
down, go ahead.
All right, you're killing it. I just wanted to. You had me going about something else. So, how often do you find that a builder's like, "All right, bro, like, thank you. This is great. We crushed it with this client. They love us. I'm pulling you in on my next one, and now you're my guy. We're coming in as a team." Because I'm wondering if the builders like now pitching the sub teams that make him
Right.
look good. I'm just kind of
Yes.
curious, how often is it turn into now they're pulling you and you're basically, as long as you don't just price gouge them, it's your job, right?
Right. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of that happens, and it doesn't happen at the first. Maybe after we do a project or two, and we run through some pain points,
Yep.
and we pause. And I've trained my field guys, hey, we're not doing that just because the guy in the field says to do it. We're stopping. We're doing it the right way. If I got to run it up the chain to somebody's boss or supervisor, we're going to pause. We're going to do this thing the right way. So I think once those pain points come in and those issues come up, and we stop and we say, hey, we're not doing it this way. We've got integrity about what we do and how we bring ourselves to market. I think that ends up moving forward. That, or we do a lot of maintenance work on these roofs, right? You want the
Mm.
qualified person coming back, so then you can get in if an issue does arise down the road. Show them that you're willing to handle it, stand behind your product, educate the homeowner. We do some maintenance programs with people to where then that builds that relationship where that builder's like, hey, dude, you made that last one easy. Can you come in on this one with me? Or they'll ask us to do houses that we didn't do. I've been having issues with this house for 3 years. Now we've built a relationship. We'll go address that for them and just kind of build that teamwork, the camaraderie between the both of us that, hey, I'm here to help you as much as you are to help your client.
Good. So let's just do a couple of like break down the golden cows. Do you know what I mean by that? Like they've been like there's a saying called a golden cow where it's like people worshiping these false gods, like they gotta smash
Right.
them. It's like, "Hey, this belief I've always believed, this one I've always believed." Like, bust up some golden cows that, like, if someone's selling to GCs and builders, tell
And
them what they like, just smash the preconceived notions that's keeping
yeah,
them from winning, you know? Like, let's hear a few of those, yeah.
so to me, one big pain point on the new construction side of it, I know a lot of the re-roof guys don't deal with it, but it's the flashing details. 90% of your issues on a roof are going to generate from flashing issues. There's 10 different ways to skin that cat, right? I've gotten to where, and builders, you get a new client, he's done something, I've always done it this way, it's never broke. Why are we fixing a problem? And once you educate them and say, hey man, it's better for your homeowner longevity down the road, the way we'll flash a house is I can remove stuff when a re-roof is needed and leave wall flashings and two-piece installation stuff or whatnot to bring that pain point up to them. Hey, down the road, when your brick cracks, are you pointing the finger at me because the roof is leaking when it's actually your brick wall? If you'll spend a few extra $1,000s on the front end, I can prevent that from ever happening. Right. So it's just the best practices there. Another one for me is just lead times of getting people on job sites. We also deck houses. Framers always drag when it comes to the decking because they don't make a whole lot. So if I can step in and say, hey, I can speed your process up by 3 weeks by letting me deck it because I want to deck it so I can get it dried in and move the process along, that's another huge advantage point. People look at us like, you'll deck a house? Like, yes, I want to take from the frame stage on because then now I've got control of the schedule, the materials, and everything from there on out.
Got it. So as you're saying this, it's not golden cow, it's called a sacred cow, my bad. So sacred cow would be like, I gotta bid what they put into the spec or the scope. That's what I gotta
Yeah. So
That would be
I,
one. Another one would be like, "Hey, they just want me to, I'd rather like get a good like." It's kind of like some of these beliefs that are holding people back from selling well into this market. Can you maybe say, here's some that I broke that once they've been broken that
Yeah, so a big one that I bust a lot is on standing seam roofs. There's always crickets or there's some anomalies that slopes don't work out right.
Mhm.
Steep slopes coming to lower slopes, having issues with water drainage down the road. A big one that I bust is on those crickets, I'll go put TPO in there.
Really?
And every time I do that, and they see that line item on a bid, a question comes up, why are you doing that? It's spec'd out for metal. And then I'll tell them through the pain points. And I've got a photo catalog. I've been doing this long enough that I can show them real life instances where we had issues because we didn't do something that I know is going to fail down the road. So busting that spec on, hey, your whole roof says metal roof or your whole roof says tile roof, these critical areas, I'm going to bust a spec for you, and I'm going to do what's going to add some longevity to this project, right? To not have issues in 3 or 4 years. My big thing also is there's a lot of builders out there that they just want to get through their warranty period. They don't care. It's a price thing. It's a budget thing. And I'll stop and just like, hey, we're not going to do this. You're going to have issues down the road. We're all going to be in litigation if we don't do it right. Let's just pump the brakes now. And yeah, we're going to come out a few $1,000s here, but we're saving tens of thousands of dollars down the road. But that's
Sweet.
a big
This
one.
is
So I always
awesome.
bust in.
Let me recap those. This is great. So when someone's price warrant like till the warranty focus, you'll pump the brakes, push back. You either walk away or you're telling them we're not doing it, and they'll jump on board with it.
Yes.
You're pushing back on like where you think TPO should go and standing seam roofs versus the material that's in there. So you're breaking up that spec and changing that mindset. The amount of flashing, you're pushing back on the amount of flashing, and you're really speaking to over, what they would say is overboard on flashing, but it's going to save everybody money. And then also like just emailing back the bid and all of the different variations that they're asking for, you're pushing back on, no, dude, if you're not going to meet with me, I'm not touching this thing. Let's go in here, and you can ask the questions you can ask. So you can do it right the first time, and they're super happy about it.
Yeah. And I'm big on that. Let's see if we're a good fit for each other. Let's have that conversation. Maybe you don't like the way I do business, and maybe you don't want to spend the money. And I respect that. Let's just have that conversation and not give each other a bunch of work to do and decipher through when we're never really going to collaborate together.
Totally. Let me ask you this. Do you find and hunt for builders that you want to work with, or do they all come to you?
Yes, no, I do prospect. I zip code shop a bit just because that's where the high-end residential stuff is at, certain zip codes. I like personally, just from my background of being an ops guy, being an installer, subcontractor, I like getting out in the field. So anytime I'm going to a job site, I cruise the 5-6 blocks in that job site just to see what's going on. People have signs out.
Well, they'll have their little sign. It says such and such. That may be their only job they're doing, but they're like a quality builder.
And then I always kind of just name drop that, hey, we're in the neighborhood. We're working on the street across from you. Hey, we're same quality. We're working for, I even name drop some of my customers. Hey, do you know so-and-so? I worked for him, give him a buzz. 'Cause even on that high end side, those builders still, there's competition between them, but they're all collaborating together as well.
Nice. That's great. Dude, this has been awesome, man. I love it. Do you mind just speaking to any like kind of anything for people who may, and I'm only saying this because you did have a chance to work with us. If someone's like a contractor and they're considering working with STG, and like what would be a really good match for them? Like who would STG be a really good match for if they're considering maybe looking at our training, our coaching, our support?
Anybody. And it's kind of nature of the beast, the ebbs and the flows, the peaks and the valleys of your sales. Anybody that's having those big valleys and those big slow spots, man, just the way you guys have really opened my eyes up to the consulting side of it, the whole baseline, running the bases, pumping the brakes. Like I said, before I went through y'all's class, I would spray and pray. I would just throw out, man, I'm bidding, I'm going to get jobs. And it doesn't correlate that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just slowing down the process. The consulting side of it, doing your research and knowing, and don't feed somebody some BS just because it sounds good. To actually go find the proper way to do things and consult that.
Mm-hmm.
I think is one of the biggest take points that I got back from there. And then we did the sales test thing or whatever. And some of the matrix that came back on there, I'm very big on accountability. I hold myself accountable and anybody underneath. But on that test, I scored a 15% on the accountability. And it really confused me at first, but some discussion with some guys, they were like, hey, Tyler, if you don't win a bid, it's never your fault. They were cheap, or they didn't do this, or, oh, they didn't want to spend that. And that's the mentality that I had. Actually seeing that come back on that report made me say, okay, hey, you know what? I'm going to beat this horse till it's dead. I'm not going to let a contract walk away from me without getting a definitive yes or no from somebody. And it's really opened my eyes up to the power of the follow-up. You got to continue to talk to these people, especially on projects that I'm bidding it might be a 2-year process before construction starts, right? And you don't want to beat their brow every month, but just kind of picking those strategic moments. Hey, you might have a price increase or this or that, or lead times change on imported materials, of just strategically touching base with those people over that 2-year period and following up. I've really gained a lot by the follow up.
So good, man. Super, super good. Well, you're a true pro. And I think if anybody, is on LinkedIn, look up Tyler Gibson with Corey. He's doing good
Yes.
stuff and great group over there. And great, yeah, super grateful to hear some of
Yeah.
your
And as
best
far
practices,
as
man.
if there's any other roofers out there that want to just talk shop, man, I love talking shop. I draw details. I would rather educate a competitor and get them up to par. Then now we're competing apples to apples. Yeah, your price is going to change a little bit because you're not doing certain things. And so I'm going to get less return from, hey, Tyler, you're 25% higher than
Yeah,
Roof ABC, right? If Roof ABC comes and talks to me, our price points are going to get a little bit closer because you're going to add a few things and do a few extra steps, right? And
love that.
I'm big on the industry and like, hey, let's make this industry not so stereotypical like it's been with a chuck and a truck,
Dude, love that.
Let's be professionals.
For sure, man. Well, you're doing it. You're doing it over there. And yeah, appreciate your time, Tyler.
Not a
Yeah,
problem.
man. Everybody hit him up on LinkedIn. Yeah. And so appreciate you. Tell the guys at Corey I said what's up and
We'll do.
wish them the best and hope to stay in touch, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.